back of the ship. Oops. And you've completed your move. Pull the template away, and now your TIE fighter made his move for the round. After making the move, as I mentioned earlier, every pilot gets to do an action. TIE fighters' actions are shown on the side of their ship template there, as well as the cards. We're using Night Beast at this point, and he says he can do a focus action, a barrel roll action, or the evade token. Now the evade token acts basically as an automatic evade icon on a die, an extra one. So it really behooves the Imperial player to choose the evade token as their action if they feel like they're going to be attacked that round. And against a higher skilled Rebellion pilot, there probably will be attacks. So TIE fighters are wise to choose the attack. Going to the Rebellion player, he would reveal his maneuver template, and he chose 2 straight ahead, so that he'll take the same thing, put it in front of the ship, like so, move him to the end, and that completes his movement. And now he can choose an action as well. Of course, the Rebellion actions are not, there are fewer than the TIE fighters. They can choose a focus or a target lock. Target lock is impressive because it does allow the Rebellion player to re-roll any of the attack dice they choose to during that attack. Attack dice can only be re-rolled one time, so you better make it count the second time. Otherwise, a focus, as I said, can be used in both attack or defense. So most players tend, if you're within range 1, as we see here, a lot of players would choose to do the target lock just to increase your chances of being hit. But we'll say that they want to play defensively and put a focus token out there for the X-Wing to use. So now we come straight down to the attack phase at this point, after all of the different movements have been done. And you start with the highest skill pilot, and he would make his attack first. So right now, you look at the arc, that's these little lines drawn on the front of the chit, and then use the targeting piece here, and you make sure that they're within the arc. You look at both sides and see what ships might be in that attacking arc, as well as the range. So you look at the range ruler, and it goes all the way out to 3 here. You can see this ship is well within range band 1. So Luke would be able to attack this TIE fighter at range band 1, rolling 4 dice. Now, unfortunately, the starter box only gives you 3 dice, so you'll just choose 1 to roll as your 4th attack. And of course, the attacker resolves all his dice first, using the modifiers as possible, and then the defender uses his. So Luke would say attack with 3 dice, and he would roll at this point, looks like a hit and a critical hit. He did not roll a focus token, so therefore he cannot spend that to make.
Don't forget your extra one, though.
That's right. There's the 4th attack die, so he'll roll that, and it looks like he'll have a hit. So this round, at range band 1, the X-Wing scored a hit, and a critical hit. So TIE fighter gets 3 defense dice, so he would roll, and it looks like he managed an evade, and because he took the evade action, that works as a third evade as well. So he cancels that hit. This cancels this hit, and the evade token cancels the critical hit. The TIE fighter comes out of this engagement unscathed at this point, and now has a chance to hit back at the X-Wing when it's his turn to attack. Because it's range band 1 again, we look at the TIE fighter's attack of 2. It gets to be +1 because it's within range band 1. So he'll throw 3 attack dice versus the X-Wing's 2 defense dice. So the TIE fighter throws, and he whiffs. Manages nothing at all. Looks like Luke is using the Force pretty strongly at this point. So he doesn't even have to roll a defense die. Had he rolled a defense, he would roll 2 like that, and either choose to use his focus ability, or this is where a special ability of a pilot kicks in. Luke's special ability says when defending, you can change one of the I results to a evade result. So Luke actually changes that to that, and you have 2 evades. Luke is probably one of the best defensive pilots in the game at this point, and I personally use him in many of my fleets. So at the end of the round, any unused focus and evade tokens clear from the ships and are put in the token pool, and then you check for other damage that would destroy ships, and if there is none, then you restart your next round by selecting maneuvers again. And that pretty much covers 1 round of X-Wing combat.
All right, so overall impressions?
Overall impressions, Fantasy Flight has done a remarkable job at creating a fast and fun experience for tabletop gaming. Many games can get bogged down by a lot of rules, whereas X-Wing does not. You basically have 3 or 4 things you do per turn. You pick your move, you make your move, you give your ship an action, and you shoot and defend, and that's pretty much it. The other things that come into play are the pilot's game text, and whether or not you take critical hits or not. On the back side of these damage cards, you have a card that tells you another thing to do, basically. And in this case, that's a direct hit. So had a direct hit been placed on any of these ships, this particular card counts as 2 damage against your hull. The damage deck is 33 cards, and in tournament play, every player must have their own damage deck. So if you do plan on playing, you'll want to obviously have a core set. That's pretty well required for any kind of tournament play or any kind of competitive game night type of scenarios. But like I said, each player will shuffle their damage deck, draw from it, it doles out to their ships, and you play from there. As I mentioned, overall impressions, I'm thrilled with the game. Personally, many players did think that it was a little on the expensive side to get into, and it is somewhat pricey, but when you consider you're buying models that are pre-painted, you're getting a lot of things in the box, and they are very well built. Very thick cardboard. The templates will last quite a while. You're getting all the required dice to play right in the opening box, as well as 3 missions, 3 scenarios that you can play, as we highlighted earlier. The rules are straightforward. They're simple. On the back side of the rule book, it gives you a quick reference to the round, as well as ship maneuvers that if you want to reference what the TIE Fighter and X-Wing are capable of doing without actually looking at the dial, you can see all those. One thing I forgot to highlight was the red maneuvers. If any ship performs that red maneuver, which is the Koya Grand Turn, is the red maneuver here, kind of like a flip. You turn your ships facing the other direction after you complete the maneuver. The pilot takes the stress token that I talked about earlier. When the ship takes a stress token, they skip taking the actions. So the evade and the focus we talked about earlier don't happen if a ship has done a red maneuver and has the stress token. For stress tokens, stay on a ship until the ship has completed a green maneuver, which is not terribly difficult to do. If you look at the ship maneuvers, so to clear a stress token, a TIE Fighter pilot must do one of those 4 green maneuvers to get rid of the stress token, and the X-Wing does the same thing, just a different type of maneuver. TIE Fighters seem to turn a little bit better at speed and can turn sharper than the X-Wing, as they're more agile and unshielded, of course, whereas the X-Wings are a little heavier armed and don't have quite the maneuverability that the TIE Fighters do. So as for keeping the thematic experience alive, Fantasy Flight's done a remarkable job. If this is a game you're interested in, there are expansion packs out already for it. At the time of the game's release, they gave us the X-Wing expansion pack, which gave you new pilots, including Wedge Antilles, who's probably one of the best in the game for the Rebellion. The TIE Fighter gave you Hal Runner, as well as a host of other pilot cards and upgrades, in addition to your model and all the corresponding chits and pieces. The Y-Wing and TIE Advance also came in the first wave of these fighters, where the Y-Wing is very rugged and versatile, can handle a different payload of proton torpedoes, whereas the TIE Advanced gives you Darth Vader, because that is what he flew, as well as any missile upgrades, and of course it's shielded as well, which makes it a little more lethal than the basic TIE Fighter. Just released at the time of this recording, we have Wave 2, where you can get into the game using the Millennium Falcon, the Slave 1 expansion, A-Wings, and TIE Interceptors. So right now is a very exciting time to get into X-Wing if you're not already playing. Most players agree, once you play a game or two, you're probably going to be hooked. It really is that much fun. So